The sun is out again in Bluefield, and you know it's almost time for Bluefield Ridge Runner baseball. For the third season in a row, the Appalachian League will be a collegiate wood bat league this year. A little bit of changes to the league, which we'll talk about later on, but a new manager in town, someone very familiar with the Appalachian League, will be leading the Ridge Runners this year. 1970, Covington Astros fell to the Bluefield Orioles. They were second place to the Orioles that year that won the Appy title. John McLaren was a part of the Covington Astros squad, and he's been in baseball ever since. John, let me ask you this first before we get going. You grew up in Texas, Galveston, Houston area, and you're 18 years old, and you head to the Appy Leagues. You head to the mountains. You go to Covington. What was your first thought when you got off the bus?
Well, I thought I'd. Well, first of all, I was thrilled to death. I really didn't want to go to college at the time. I just actually went in the off season because the Astros paid for my education. So I was appeasing my mother. So I did go to college in the off season. But my first game, I hit a home run, and I thought I'd be in the big leagues in 2 weeks. And uh, that didn't come to fruition. I never made it to the big leagues, but uh, I always I talk very proudly about opening in the Appalachian League. My one I had two roommates. My one roommate was Tom Wise, who was Rick Wise's brother, who played in the big leagues for 15 years. That was traded for Steve Carlton, and my other roommate is in the Hockey Hall of Fame, Clark Gillies.
Wow.
Um, and we were both catchers. And I tell all my friends, I said, I used to tell Clark, go empty the garbage, and because I was 18 and he was 16. He was from Canada, and he was just a young kid, and I was older than him, and had no idea what this guy was going to turn out to be. And we lost him about a year ago, and they were great roommates, and I will absolutely take a visit on an off day just to drive by Covington to see where it all started.
Your resume speaks for itself. You managed with Seattle and Washington for a period. You've been a bench coach for the Blue Jays, Red Sox, Reds, Mariners, Rays, Nationals, Phillies. You was also a third base coach for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic back in '06. With a resume like that, some people would say the Appy League is beneath me. I'm a major league guy. But what brings you back to the Appy League?
Well, like I was telling you earlier, I did the Texas Collegiate League 2 years in San Antonio. And first of all, I've never big leagued anybody in my life. That's not what I'm about. I'm a baseball guy. I'm a baseball coach. I like helping kids. I feel like this time in my life, this is definitely I'm going to try to give back. Try to make these kids better. Try to let them know what the next level might be about. And coaches have always been special to me. I never had a dad in the house growing up, and coaches were my dads, and so I've always used that teaching kids and trying to help them get better. And maybe they won't play in the major leagues, but maybe they will become uh, coaches like myself. Um, Help them be a better person. And Zach, one of the challenges I always like is I see three levels of players. I see the guys in the middle are just happy-go-lucky, good people. I got the guys at top that think they're a little bit better than everybody else, and then I got the guys a little bit below that are a little bit shy or timid. So I'm going to bring the shy and timid to the middle, and I love taking the guys up the top back to the middle. That's one of my challenges I always like to have is I always tell them, I said, when you leave here, you're going to be a confident man. And I'm looking forward to the challenge. And I hope you're looking forward to the journey that you're starting here that could lead to a better baseball career, but definitely a better life as a man.
We're talking with John McLaren, the manager of the Bluefield Ridge Runners 2023 season that will begin in June coming up. And John, you kind of touched on it. Baseball will humble you. You know, those guys up sitting up high with, you know, if they were great in high school, you know, college sometimes brings them down. If college didn't bring them down, sometimes they get to the league and it brings them down. What's kind of the motivating factor? What's some of the trends that you kind of use to help some of those guys either bring them back to where their potential is or kind of settle them in a spot where they can better their potential without having that ego in the way?
Well, I'm not afraid to challenge kids. I do it in a tactful, professional way. I don't try to belittle or make somebody feel inferior, but I'm not afraid to challenge them to get better. And then I'm also not afraid to put my arm around a kid and let him know that he's got a lot of talent, and I want to help him bring his talent out, and he needs to believe in himself. I think that's a big part of young kids. Sometimes they doubt themselves, and we all doubt ourselves, and just trying to relate to some stories that I've been through in my journey and how I've met dead ends and I've taken detours. And lo and behold, I had 26 years in the big leagues, and never played a day in the big leagues. So it's a uh, different way of going up the ladder. And I think it's a story that some kids can see that maybe if I don't make it, I still have a chance of going to the top.
You've been around baseball your entire life at the professional level since 1970, as we mentioned earlier. Things, baseball hasn't changed as a game that much, but it has changed a lot. What are some of the biggest things you've seen on and off the field, not only with players, but just how things are handled at a professional level in baseball?
Well, I was when I was doing the Texas Collegiate League, the Double A team for the Padres were in San Antonio. So when we weren't playing and we were at home, I would go to all the games, and I would see my scout friends. I would know some of the minor league managers of the other teams and coaches, and of course, I knew the manager really well for the San Antonio team, and when the game started, I would leave the scout section and go sit by myself. So because those guys had works, they wanted me to stay, but I didn't want to talk. I wanted them to do their job. So I would watch the game, and I feel like there is so much positive about the new school baseball. And we did it when I was in Philadelphia in 2016, 2017. It's another way of identifying players. But from where I was brought up, it's respecting the uniform, paying tribute to the players before you, what they have done to put the game into position. And I think if you accept both worlds, I think you really have a great product. And because because I have gray hair and I've been around a while, that doesn't make me somebody lost in the game. I've always adapted with the game. You don't last over 50 years in professional baseball and 26 on the major league level if you don't adapt to the game. And I think that that's one thing that I will preach to the young kids, that you know you 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 grow with the game, and you accept fresh ideas, you ask questions. And when we were in Philadelphia, Larry Bowen and myself, we would talk to our analytic teams, and we would tell them that, what we're thinking is, I don't like to use that word old school, but we are. We signed 70, Larry and I a little bit before me, and we just tell them that, how we think, and why we do things, and how challenging is part of the game, and how sometimes numbers doesn't paint the whole picture. And they were very thankful for, just because they wanted to learn the game from a different angle also. And we asked them questions, what they're trying to accomplish. And like I said, we learned a lot of things, and it kind of gave us a different look on what they're trying to do.
We've talked a little bit on the phone here even before we started this interview, and you've got a calm, cool demeanor, but I did a little research and found that you've got 12 ejections as a manager and coach at the professional level. Um, can we expect some of that fiery reactions from you coming from the first base dugout at Bowen Field this summer?
You know what? I know it's a college league, but I am what I am. I will definitely work hard to be cool, calm, and collective. But there's a passion inside of me that I think when it's not there, I know it's time to go to the house. Right now, I can tell you playing golf a couple days ago, I wasn't happy about the outcome. I still compete, and that's just what my DNA is. And my bosses, I've tried to tell them that, I'm a little fiery at times, and they just kind of laughed and said, "Well, just keep it under control," and I will. Like I said, I am what I am, and I'm looking forward to competing. And if I can show the kids a little fire to kind of motivate them a little bit, uh, that's what I'll do. And um, I've tried to understand umpires from a different perspective, because I some of the umpires that I got to meet over the years, because I always took the lineup card to home plate, and with Jimmy Williams in Toronto and Lou Piniella for 14 years. And these are good people, and with instant replay, you know, it would have saved me several ejections. I can tell you that. So anyway, like I said, I still got that side to me, but I'm going to try to keep it under control.
I think Bluefield baseball fans are excited about having you. Someone fiery in the dugout. We've had a few fiery managers over the past couple years, so I think another one won't hurt. John McLaren will be the manager this season for the Bluefield Ridge Runners coming up this summer. How involved are you with the drafting process?
Well, I was on the phone this morning, and I called about a couple pitchers, and I know that we have people in place to put the players, to line the players up. But I have tried to be very proactive, recommending people. Um, I know a lot of coaches in Texas, Arizona State, and when I've got a friend that's a college coach, I went by when I went to Houston in November. I went by and saw Jose Cruz Jr. at Rice. I called Willie Bloomquist at Arizona State and talked to him, and we might have one of his players. So, like I said, I've tried to know my place, but also kind of push the envelope and suggest some guys, and just they told me that they're looking for some more pitchers. So I've tried to call some of my scout friends and see if they could help out. And sure enough, they've given me some names, and I've passed the names on. And I don't make the final uh, decision, but I've sure tried to suggest some people that would be good for our league and hopefully our team. I could have some of these guys, and it's worked out really well because they've given me a lot of leeway to get involved. And like I said, it's not my final decision, but I've sure had some suggestions for them.
What's some of the goals, maybe the end goal even, for the 2023 Ridge Runners in Bluefield?
Well, I always tell the players that I want them to play the game right. I want them to play hard. I want them to respect the uniform, and I more or less had the same talk when I managed the major leagues. When you respect the uniform, you really don't need any rules. That means wearing your uniform right. That means playing the game right, running balls out, um, treating your fans well, treating your teammates well. Um, just doing things in a professional way. And I don't have a lot of compromise on that, to be honest with you. I'm very straightforward. That is, this is what I expect. And if you don't want to kind of buy in on that, you might you might not want to play for me. So that's just I'm not trying to be an army sergeant whatsoever, because one of the things that I absolutely stress is uh, I want you to get better every day, and I want you to have fun doing it. And I think when you try to put all this together, you have a good ball player. Somebody that plays hard, has fun, respects the game, and at the end of the day, you gave it your all, and you can't ask anything more than that.
Yeah, and I think we would maybe agree with me on this is a lot of these young kids coming in don't quite realize how small the baseball world is. Obviously you can see the stats and everything, the analytics and the tape on what the kid does on the field, but in the clubhouse or on the road or treating fans, as you mentioned, those things get around. And if you're not a club guy, you're not a team guy, then a lot of people will find out about that really early.
Yeah, no question. I mean, I have kept in touch with players that that I had in the Texas Collegiate League, and four of them got drafted. Uh, I ran into one of them last week. I went. I was doing the Seattle Mariners fantasy camp, and he had signed with the Seattle Mariners, and it was great running into me. I mean, he pitched at TCU, and oh, he was so happy, that we ran into each other. And I told him, I said, I didn't know you were out here so early. I was going to look you up. So I'll have him out to my house, and we'll talk about the team, some of the teammates that we had, and who he's kept in touch with. But you know what? The one thing that I really love about baseball is it adds to the family. The family keeps getting bigger. And when you're in the baseball fraternity, if somebody needs any help, whatever, we're always there for them. And that's what baseball is all about, is uniting people and bringing people together.
I'll get you out of here on this. I've kept you long enough, but John McLaren, a baseball lifer, coming back to the Appy League this summer for the Bluefield Ridge Runners to be the manager. In all your travels in the baseball world, what has been one of the biggest lessons you've learned that you've kind of carried with you throughout your career?
It's funny you said that. When I broke in 1970, I think we had 11 or 12 Latin players on the team. And my history has been international baseball. I to this day, I'm working on projects now around the world, and I'm hoping to do some things here in the next few months. But when I went to Colombia and when I went to Venezuela, I went to a couple of my players' houses, and I went to a couple of my ex teammates over the years that were living down there. And you talking about bringing somebody back to the real world. One of my players didn't have electricity. He had a dirt floor, and I just to see where they've come from, it gave me a new perspective of the Latin players, and it just gives you a real hard reality what the real world is like. A lot of people don't know what type of environments some of the players that have made it big, where they've come from. But if you could see in the Dominican and Venezuela and Colombia, um, some of the living conditions, some of these players that come from, it give you newfound respect of these kids. And I think that's one of the things that when you asked me that question, that's the first thing I thought of right there.
John McLaren, player, coach, manager, scout. You're working with the World Baseball Classic and the World Baseball Federation, for that matter, doing a lot of work. And your blue collar attitude, I know, is going to fit really well into Bluefield this summer. We're looking forward to it. And John, it's been great talking to you. I hope the fans enjoy this interview, and we're going to chat a lot again this summer.
Well, I appreciate it. Like I said, we want to make it an atmosphere for family and friends to come to the ballpark, and hopefully we're going to put a real good product out there they'll be proud of, and we'll hustle for them, and we just want them to come out and enjoy themselves, just relax their mind and enjoy the game of baseball.